And we're live. Round of applause, everybody. Right, so here we are. It's Monday. SpeakuP Monday here at Tropical Nomad. This is episode number 418. Now, tonight is all about exploring the charity blueprint in Bali. So, as we know, Bali is this beautiful melting pot of cultures, ethnicities. It's a beautiful, perfect place to set up a charity because there's so much that we can do, can contribute to one another. Unity and diversity is a motto of Indonesia, which is, again, very much evident here in Bali, where we have 5 major religions which all get along, are all respected, are all in the calendar, right? So we have this incredible melting pot. Bali itself, 7 ley lines of energy, this beautiful place of healing, rejuvenation, rebirth, right? We have a culture, it's all about ceremony that locks in that by keeping the balance of good and evil through ceremony. So Bali is an incredible place. That's what I'm trying to say to you. So too often, as maybe as foreigners like myself, we come here and we look and we see with our own eyes, maybe with a Western viewpoint, of things we'd like to change, or things that we'd like to improve, or things that we'd like to do. Now, tonight is about how to do those things through charities and foundations. How do we empower each other and one another to do really good, important, and valuable things? Consequently, and on the other hand, there's also a little bit of a trap, because sometimes we get into this mindset of kind of not realizing the difficulty, the challenging nature of setting up and running successfully with this, continuation, charities and foundations. Tonight we're going to learn about what is timing all about, right? What is this contribution versus competition or mindset or duplication mindset? What other important aspects of setting up charities, running them, and so on do we need to know to start to go on this adventure? Okay, so tonight we have 3 incredible guests, which I'll introduce shortly. But let's start on the end, the man with a beautiful smile. So Bimbim is from Bali Bersama Bisa. So Bali Bersama Bisa is 10 or more now, all rolled into one, but we're talking about mental health. And obviously during COVID and so on, and the world was put into chaos, plunged into a place where we realized that mental health is extremely important. Also, SpeakuP Monday, being on a Monday, it started off with mental health in mind. Then we have Janur Yasa, which again, you remember him, CNN Heroes, he won that. This global search for talent, right? Incredible spotlight bringing Indonesia. As you remember, last week we had Putri Indonesia 2022, Lakshmi, and she was referring to how overseas Indonesia, for some, appears to be a little bit invisible. Well, this man helped put Indonesia on the map. So with Plastic Exchange Bali, and we'll go into that and the timing element especially. Then finally, next to me, Margaret from Bali Children's Foundation. And we had this great chat many years ago where I came, again, my eyes are not as wide, they're still pretty wide, right? But I came with this idea of, Margaret, we can do this, this, and this. And she was saying to me with a calm, stoic voice of wisdom, that's the right word, saying, Rob, you're trying to save the world, but how about you save yourself first? That one, I think about 7 years later, I think I finally understood what she meant. So we have an incredible show. My name is Robert Ian Bonnick. I'm the founder of SpeakuP Monday and the host, also founder of RIB and Associates, which is a growth strategist and a gateway to Indonesia for foreign companies wanting to come and flourish, and also Indonesian or local companies wanting to grow in Indonesia. We connect the dots through our network, through government, through foreign investment, and so on. So let's get this started. I know it's been a pretty long intro, but I think what we'll do is that we'll go to our wonderful guests and we'll ask them to introduce themselves, and then we'll come back and start the question. So let's start again. We would do ladies first, which I think we will actually. Margaret, we can, and then we'll end up over here with Bimbim. Over to you.
Thanks, Robert. Thanks for that extraordinary introduction. And on behalf of all of us, that was wonderful. Thank you. So, Margaret Barry, I've lived in Bali 33 years. I've lived in Asia 49 years. Still got the Aussie accent from Australia, from country town in Australia. 22 years ago, I started a charity called Bali Children Foundation, and the aim was to educate the disadvantaged, remote children of Bali, and that's what we're still doing. Thank you.
Wonderful. Brother Janur. Now, I was going to say something else, but you can also let people know, again, maybe take a little bit longer, about Plastic Exchange and, what you're doing now as well. 'Cause I think people will also want to know, okay, we know you for this, but what are you up to now as well?
Well, good evening, everybody. So, my name is Janur Yasa. I'm from Bali. I was born about probably 1 hour west from here, a small village called Tabanan. I started the Plastic Exchange at the beginning of COVID pandemics. What I do was really the purpose was really like changing people's habit about trash, especially plastic. But later on, I find out 60 to 70% our trash every day by weight and by volume is organic. And I can tell you more about it during the session, how we take care of that. Now Plastic Action is still going, but not as big as it was during the pandemics. Beside Plastic Exchange, I just opened a new restaurant. Yay!
Round of applause, new restaurant, come on. Tell us the name and where it is.
Well, I used to have a restaurant, it's called Moksa Ubud, which is the plant-based restaurant in Sayan. And I sold my share, and I starting a new one, which is in Lod Tunduh. If you going to Ubud, just before you got to Ubud, it's about probably 6K or 10K from Ubud, and there we are. It's going to be everything restaurant with a vegan and vegetarian option. So yeah, we'll talk more about Plastic Exchange and all of that. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. And if you pass the microphone to our brother.
Oh yeah, the name is Eka Wood Restaurant.
I was about to say Eka Wood Restaurant, yeah? Okay, Eka Wood Restaurant. Wonderful. Brother Bimbim, over to you, man. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Rob. Good evening, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. So yes, my name is Wayan Bimbim. So I've been in Bali for 43 years long now. That's make me, I'm a local from Bali. So I'm one of the co-founder of Bali Bersama Bisa Foundation that's provide mental health services for all. So this foundation was established during the COVID too, because from the 10 founder of this organization, 8 of us is a survivor through our own struggling and recovery. So we realized during the COVID, like the situation is quite messy when a lot of fear, stress, and depressed about life. Yeah, so each of us from the 8 survivor is already been feel that situation before during our struggling with our own mental health disability, physical disability. So we're willing to giving back to the community. By what? By sharing our journey, how we went through the difficult situation during our recovery. So what we struggling as a survivor in the past is, including me, I was a Balinese. I have a disease of addiction that I was struggling to find a safe place to seeking for help without judgment, without stigmatized. And then that is what we share to the community. We provide a safe place for everyone to get heard first and seeking for help. So with the support of the right people and also a beautiful expat who live here in Bali, finally we creating a beautiful services now located in Kwanji Dalung. We got Bali Bersama mental health care, who provide a free services for mental health and also addiction for everyone, including the Westerners who are visiting Bali, who stuck with their own struggling and difficulties. So it's been a challenging for us, with especially for our communities, the local, who've been raised to be tough, to be strong, to seeking for help is struggling for us. Because we are too busy to saving our own face rather saving their own life. So using the story from each community who've been went through that kind of situation, we just provide a safe place. Everyone can come, share, and get support. So, yeah.
Bimbim, that's so important. As I spoke off camera before, I'm not sure many of you realize, but SpeakuP Monday, right? So SpeakuP, why is it on a Monday? Okay, so very simple. There's 3 reasons, but one which is important now. And that was coming from Sydney. I was born in London, but worked in Sydney, high-level hospitality. We did very well. Now, there were 3 men who were highly decorated, highly successful. They had the right look about them, the right-looking wife, sorry, but I've just got to say it how it is, the right car, the right watch, okay? They were living the high life. In 1 year, all 3 of them committed suicide. All 3. No one saw it coming. So the thing about mental health is, and we have once a month we have Health Hub Bali, and we've been into this quite deeply, is that you cannot tell from how someone looks if they have a challenge or not. So what you're saying, Bimbim, about wanting to save face, about wanting to be strong, right, is so true. And through going through the process of this, realizing that Monday is in the world, it's one of the most common days for heart attacks. Monday also is one of the most popular days for people wanting to take their own life, right? So that's why it's SpeakuP Monday. We drop a stone of positive intention on a day where things are going the other way, right? So again, the mental health is very, very, very important. So thank you, my brother. And Janur, Tabanan, I love Tabanan. He was the first guy to teach me about Tri Hita Karana. Now we set up a Tabanan community, which I've got to get involved in. And Margaret, well, you know about Margaret, she was the one who actually set me straight on day number 1, pretty much, on save yourself first, Rob, before you try and save the world. Now, as a little kind of side to that, saving the world. So let's get into the questions. So, maybe the first question that comes up is why? Why did you set up the charities that you did, first of all? And the second part to that question, maybe think of 1 or 2, what were some of the major challenges that you were not aware of going in that you had to face? So number 1, why did you do it in the first place? Because it's a large undertaking. If you've answered that already, that's okay. And then number 2 is, let's talk about maybe 1 or 2 of the challenges that you faced that you had no clue was there before you started. Let's start with you, Margaret. Sorry. Yeah.
Thanks, Robert. So Bali as a community is a small community, even though sometimes it's hard for us to realise that. And as a community, when Bali is affected by disaster or any kind of stress, whether it be COVID or anything else, you tend to get your community coming together. And we've got a quite talented community, so that's special. And I was here at the time of the first bomb, and very quickly we understood that it was terror-related. I'd already lived in India for over 15 years, so I already knew what terror looked like. And I believed that it was related to a lack of opportunity and a lack of power. And in some of the disadvantaged communities of Bali, I saw that as a lack of education, which led to a lack of economic enablement and a lack of any agency either within their community or certainly outside it. So I was pretty into off-road. I was a bit of a petrol head, actually, and I like driving around the off-roads of Bali. So I knew where a lot of these communities were. And so when the bomb happened, I was involved in the immediate response. But then after a couple of weeks, after we'd kind of helped the Australian government sort out the morgue and do all of those things, I started to reflect on the experience and thinking I'd seen how expats and tourists and the Balinese had worked together incredibly successfully to deal with insane disaster with an appalling health system and everything against it. It had been an amazing response that was in fact very, very successful in terms of, I think we had about 300 wounded on the Sunday and everyone was evacuated. No one died that day. We knew they wouldn't make it, but we got people home to see their families before they passed. So that was just exceptional. Never seen anything like it, never will probably. And it was done with volunteers, fashion designers, restaurateurs, all sorts of people were doing it. And I thought, okay, we can use this for something else. And that's when I decided that, education was going to be my version of a solution, of a sustainable solution. Education is the ultimate sustainability. You get one kid educated, and as long as they stay well, including mentally well, their income will empower their family. So that's how it started. And that was the aim, and we got straight into that. And my first donors were people who were either victims of the bomb or families of victims who'd passed. And so that was pretty powerful. And I was still very small. I had 40 children that I was working with in a children's home in North Bali. And that was my first mistake. So for the first few years, I worked inside the children's home sector. It's low-hanging fruit. It's very typical for a woman in particular to go for that as feeling like the right thing to do. But I soon discovered that by then we had 3 children's homes we were working with. 2 were Christian and 1 was Hindu. They were all into proselytising. And the Hindu one actually had Islamic children in there. The Christian one, of course, had Hindu children in there. And once the children got into the puberty years and started to think a bit for themselves, they started to rebel against what was being proselytised to them. And the next thing is they started dropping out. And I hate waste. These are kids that we might have had in there since I was 7, and at 13 and 14 they're dropping out. So all that work was for nothing, and all that money was for nothing, because it's much more expensive to keep a child in a children's home than it is at home. So I thought, okay, we're going to try, instead of all the children in the children's home weren't orphans. They were generally just people from communities up in the mountains that were not close to schools and where the parents couldn't afford junior high school. So I thought, okay, let's go to the community instead of having the children come into the children's home. And that's what we did. So we started going to the DESA and having a talk, and they all thought it was a bit weird. So we ended up talking them into having a public meeting, which people came along to, and there's a big conversation, and eventually a small community in Denchurik on the coast agreed they'd try it. So we started working in the school, and on it went. And from there, of course, in the next one, again, was a lot of conversation, and eventually agreed. So that brought in another 160 by then. And then, so between 2002 and 2012, we slowly built it up to 1,000 students. And that was backed by donors. But the real secret was that I was in the fashion business. I had my own business. I had a good income. And the business was able to support the charity. So the bricks and mortar came, it was inside the business. The accounting was my business staff. All the admin was my business staff. So we could use our donations purely to deliver education. We didn't need to worry about any of the other costs. And that was incredibly important in establishment of the charity. So by 2012, we're at 1,000 children, and then it really started to move. So now we're at 14,000 and doing all sorts of things and in all sorts of areas. So we've gone from North Bali to Mount Batur, Songan area, Lembongan, Penida, Lombok, the Gillies, Sumba. So it's just grown up. But the original model after the mistake in the children's home area. The original model of going into the DESA has been successful, and it's completely replicable. So it's very easy to scale up, and that's what's enabled us to do what we do and get to the numbers we're at.
Love it. You know, I'm getting goosebumps. So, yeah. So partly why I'm getting goosebumps is because I grew up in 2 children's homes for 17 and a half years in London, for those who don't know. So there's things in there. Thank you. Janur, so if we pass the mic to you, before you start...
Double fist.
There you go. He's got mic overload. Right. So here's one of the things. So very quickly, last week, 2 weeks ago, sorry, there's a lady, I won't mention her name, and then she had some comments to make about Janur, which I took kind of personally. And, you know, one of the things, it's like this. We had a guy on the show 2 weeks ago called Renat Huberger. He scaled the largest climate company in the world, okay, called South Pole. They made one mistake. Now, for this mistake, he paid more than you can possibly imagine, right? But one mistake, as Obama says, you know, the test is, did you move the needle forward? This guy, he moved the needle forward in a very, very big way, net positive impact. Yet, people from the armchair were able to point a finger and say, yeah, but he's this or he's that. Now, I'm an armchair critic too, so I'm not saying that I'm above this, because I'm not. I say things and have an opinion on things that I don't really have the knowledge for, right? So when I heard this, I thought, right, with Janur, got to get him back on the show. He's a brother, and I want you to hear it from him. And that's what this is really all about. So you actually get to kind of go through some of the motions with all of them, because they've all got their own challenges. And once you have that information, then you're able to make a more informed decision. My brother, over to you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, how do I start this? It's really by accident in some ways, you know. But again, you know, I do think, or I think I speak in general here, people do think from their background, what they know, right? So in my case, I grew up in a small village. Nature was part of my daily life. No car, no television, no electricity. And then I went to college. I love to nature, you know, hike, diving, caving, you know. And my parents always said, you know, why are you going up the mountain? You know, there is a ceremony going on, you know. So, but that's what I love. And then I have an opportunity to go to United States, and I lived there for 15 years, and really just open up my my vision about what I love, you know, about the environment. And I mean, the first time I saw people washing the bags, like the plastic bag was in the United States, like in my circle of friends, I was like, wow, you know, this is great. So fast forward, I moved back to Bali, and I worked for a lot of different places, and I opened a restaurant, Moksa. So as we all know the story, the pandemic hit. And at the time, you know, Bali is 80% depend on tourism. Everything shut down, including my restaurant. It really was in my home, in my house. I was thinking, what should I do? One of my background is in permaculture. I do gardening through permaculture. One of the principles in permaculture, inside of the challenge, there is an opportunity. You know, what is the opportunity that can arise from here based on what I love to do? So the first idea was like, well, what about I just go to my village, I will give rice. You know, people lost their job, they need eat. Yeah, in Bali we eat rice, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then I thought to myself, if I go to my village, give rice, even if I give everybody 5 kilo or 10 kilo each, there's going to be jealousy. Yeah, hey, I'm your brother or your sister. Why do you give me the same amount? I should give more, you know. And then I thought to myself, what if they bring plastic, I will give rice. And I went to my village. Basically, I talked to the villagers, a couple of youth leaders and also the village leader. And I said, hey, I have this program. If people bring plastic, I will give rice. And how are you going to do that? I don't know. How much plastic would they bring to get 1 kilo? I don't know. Never done it. What about 1 kilo plastic, 1 kilo of rice? Okay. We really just like throw it, just idea, because we do know. And then they asked me, when should we start? I said, tomorrow. Like, whoa, what, tomorrow? Yeah. Why wait? So, and I was just like, nobody will come, because such a silly thing to do, bring plastic, get rice. And into my surprise, in 5 days or 10 days, we collected about almost 1 ton of plastic in my small village, which is only 50 households. 50 households, if you think about one family is 4 people, so that's like 100 people, 150 at the most. So, and then like, wow, this is great, but I'm going to be bankrupt, 1 ton of plastic, it equal 1 ton of rice, because 1 and 1. And I was just like, okay, what should I do now? This is what happened, when you do a lot of this thinking like you, man. Damn it. So, and I look at the plastic, and there is different kind of plastic, single-use plastic, PET, HDPE, this and that. And then I talked to my brother, okay, from tomorrow, we're going to change the game. So if people bring the single-use plastic, they need to bring, I don't remember, like 5 kilos. And then if they bring PET, which has a value, they need to bring more, And the reason why they need to bring less of the single-use plastic, because they don't have value. That's what people, there's no value. They just throw it on the side of the road. The one with value, and then we'll keep it, and the pemulung, which is the scavengers, will come, and then they give money or whatever that they trade with. So anyway, and again, my brother said, wow, what's going to, the villagers said, you changed the game. Like, if they don't want to come, they don't come, And we changed the game, and then they come still, like, wow, this is working, If it works in my village, got to be working in a different village. So because my business was in Ubud, and I just bring it to Ubud, and from there on, it just really spread and all of that. And again, when I do this, it's really, there is no intention to make it big at it was, but I just roll with the punch, so to speak. And really, a lot of people, just like what you mentioned, people from this is a melting pot of the world, and people heard about it. Hey, I want to help you. How can I help you? And my question to that person would be, what are you good at? Oh, I'm good at fundraising. Let's do fundraising. Oh, I'm good at doing this. Let's do that. So it's really. This is become a vision of everybody involved. It's not me, I'm just the spark, and really from there, I got help. And Matt was from Boston at the time, and we make a vision, we make a mission. What is the core value, And he was just like sitting with me like for hours and hours. And then again, like, wow, this is really the Trihita Karana in action. Some of you know the Trihita Karana, which is tree is tree, Hita is happiness, and Karana is the way or the path, which is in Bali, the harmonious connection human to God, which is a dignity. The harmonious connection human to human is prosperity. And the last one is really the harmonious connection human to the environment. So by picking up the plastic, I feel dignified. Yeah, I work clean up the environments. I'm not go to ask for something. because when there is a disaster, people bringing food and all of that, and I want something, and a lot of those things. And again, this is just like Tatwamasi. Tatwamasi is like you as me, or like this circle.
Ubuntu.
Yeah, Ubuntu. The receiver become a giver, the giver become a receiver. If you bring plastic, I'll give rice. I give you rice, I got plastic. So it's really just using the Balinese philosophy. Yes.
Finish your sentence first.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Questions will be in about 25 minutes. So just hold that question. Thank you very much. But look, because I know the first question is always the longest one, because I want you to get an idea of who they are and why they did what they did. After that, the questions will be a little bit quicker fire, just so you know.
Yeah.
Back to you.
So, and it's become big, and then become like 200 or 250 villages and all of that. And really, through this journey, at the very beginning, I want to create leaders. That's my thing. It's like I want to create a leader in a village that take care of their village. It's not me, So now we have about 10 or something villages that really took on the idea, and some of those villages now not even give a rice anymore, but give a coupon. So this is just like a Bitcoin. Really, just like a Bitcoin. Because I have an idea like, Bitcoin, that's a global. What about if we make a Bitcoin just a local Bitcoin? Meaning, so now they got the coupon, and this coupon, they can buy anything from the warung in that village.
Love it.
Yeah.
And look, because I know you very well, I can do that, right, and not be rude. So give us one challenge. Okay, let me give you a bit of a hint. No, whatever's on your mind. The leadership one, I think, is very important, because I think that's where people really got the misunderstanding about what you're trying to do, and then we'll move on to Bimbim after that.
What is your question?
So what's your one challenge? That going through it, you've realized now, had I had this time again, that maybe I would do differently.
Yeah. Really, the challenge is a lot of people look at non-profit like myself as like a handout. If you give me something, I'll do something for you, or I will do it. Once there's handout is not there, they just like, I don't know what to do, But really, when I said to them, like, this is just an incentive to get you going. It's your house, it's your village. You gotta clean it. It's not my responsibility. If you don't want to clean your house, if you don't want to clean your village, be it. Really the challenge is like to get that mindset across. We have Trihita Karana, we can say it, but how can you put it into action? How can you put the philosophy become a pragmatic? Yeah. So I think that's the challenge. Yeah. And the other challenge is, of course, people are still asking for donation and all of that. And I understand people got a donation fatigue. I'll give you once, I'll give you twice, I will give some other organization. And I understand that. So that's why I'm building another restaurant. So I want this place to become a hub, become a place where I can share my idea. People come, let's share food through a story, through meals and all of that. It's really the challenge is how can get this across. It's your house, it's your village. We can support you in a way, but not with money, so to speak.
Love it, brother. Thank you very much for sharing that. It's important. Bim, over to you. So just for the audience, yes, please. All right. So just for the audience and those watching at home, so this first question, as I mentioned, is a longer one, because I really want you to get an understanding of who's talking, right? Then the questions which I have will be shorter. They won't go to all the panelists. There will be kind of specific questions for specific panel members. Then in about 20 minutes or so, then the audience who are here, you will have an opportunity to ask some questions. This third mic that Bimbim has in his hand will go to you. Just raise your hand, and then you've got your question. So, okay, so Bimbim, so over to you. The questions were, what was the reason why you set it up, which I think you've answered, and then what was one of the challenges that you didn't see at the time, that now you may be doing it a different way. Yeah.
So,
Right up to your mouth. Yeah.
so the challenge that I don't see in previously, yeah? Okay. So the challenge that in our organization that we don't see with the community of the local community is to breaking the stigma, to reaching out for help is a huge part. So that is the challenge that we have on the ground field. That, like I mentioned before, like my community, the local community is too busy to saving their face rather than saving their own life, you know, to breaking that stigma, that pattern is okay to be not okay, and searching for help. That's a huge one that we cannot see. Yeah, like we have services running now thanks to the community, because this community center is happening by the community for the community. That's why you can see a lot of huge staff here. Together we
10
can.
hands holding each other. Yeah.
10 hands, and together we can. You can see that beautiful lady also over there with Together We Can. That so is how is the impact that we can achieve when we are moving together and creating a beautiful stuff for the community. It's already happening. Struggling is to let the community to access for the help that they need it. That's a big homework for us. So what we're doing at this time is we're creating fun event, like build the awareness. We are here. It's okay to looking for help, searching for help. It's also to show the community that we can help. Why? Because we've been there. And have a look where we are now. You know? Like sharing the story from the each survivor, from our co-founder of the Bali Bersama Bisa, that is a huge impact to the community to encourage for asking for help.
Bimbim, so people can get an idea. How many calls are you fielding a day at the moment?
Yeah. So, like, we have a crazy idea in the past. It's beginning in 2022, yeah, 2021 in our community. We're struggling with mental health issue, and we have struggling also with suicidal attempt, yeah, from our community, because we have people with schizophrenia, people with bipolar addiction, people with HPH, physical disability, vision disability. So mostly all of us is familiar with suicidal thought and suicidal attempt. So we're creating a suicidal hotline with 2 mobile phones, with WhatsApp application in 2021. We make it a success thanks to Rob, who helped provide us in a place to do our first workshop, to training the community to be how to be a good listeners, to be the operator with the training skill and stuff like that. That's why by community for the community. So in 1 year, we're running the services, provide a safe place for people to get hurt. The purpose only for Bali, yeah? But we're ending up with 11,900 missed call and not
11,900 missed calls
and notification chat asking for help for all around Indonesia. Our device that time is broken, hang, cannot access. Our operator is freaking out. They burn out. And what we do decide that time? We decide to close the services, save the resources, and do maintenance and improvement. So the good news now, in 2023, in September 10, we already opening our hotline again with a new system. We have a call center now. So in 1 week, we're helping 390 people from all around Indonesia only by listening them, provide them a safe place to get heard without get direction or judgment or stigmatized. So that is what we're doing at this time. So our mission is provide a safe place for people to get heard.
Wonderful, brother.
Yeah.
Bali Bersama Bisa.
Bali
Woo!
Bersama
More
Bisa.
goosebumps. It's like a goosebump day. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to speed up the pace, right? So I'm going to direct questions at certain people, and then the audience will have their chance. But just to quickly summarize, if I can. So as Margaret was saying, the importance of having a business, right? Help yourself before you can help the world, right? Very, very important that I missed. Still part of me misses, by the way, but I'm learning. Janur, with Plastic Exchange, with the CNN hero, global, right? Massive thing, put Indonesia on the map. His thing was, look, I didn't set this up for me to run. I set this up to give the opportunity for other leaders to step up and take responsibility for their own house, their own village. So that is a key point. And with you, my brother, together we can, man. I feel like Obama. Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Say it again. Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. All right. Not that kind of show. Yes, we can. All right. So, quicker fire questions now. So, Margaret, over to you. There's two. So, one is, when you set up the foundation, Bali Children's Foundation, what did it take to set it up? And which role does duplication or collaboration play in your thought processes?
Okay, well, the setup was quite organic because we came up with the idea. The donors were there because they were all dealing with the bomb.
So is there any legal things you have to do to set up?
Well, we didn't at first. I mean, we didn't set ourselves up properly. I mean, this is a long time ago. We didn't set ourselves up properly for about 4 years before we actually created Yasa, and we just went out and did it. I mean, it's a different scenario now. I'm talking about 2002. It's really different. So we just went out and did it, and then we just kept doing it, and it was working, and then it wasn't working, and then we changed it, and then it kept working. So that was that. The support came because the people that I'd been involved with during the bomb continued on afterwards. And then the following year I had a really bad accident and ended up in Australia in hospital and had a very dramatic situation. And I actually fell and became a quadriplegic. So, yeah, this is a bit over the top. So in this recovery, and it took me nearly a year to get back to Bali, and I was still quite crippled when I got back, I became like a bit of a B-grade celebrity, and people were sort of a bit astounded about my recovery and what have you, even though it was incomplete. And so that also brought in a different kind of donor. Like the doctors that I'd worked with during the bomb were also at the hospital where I was recovering. So they came on board. And then one of the ministers in the government in Perth came on board, and then just judges came on board, and then all these people just wanted to help. So by the time I got back to Bali, which was 2004, I already had this whole new network of people, and including a lot of people that, were quite wealthy. And so and I wasn't that well, so I could only do a certain amount. And so I was really forced to just take it step by step. I never ran out of money in terms of donations because I couldn't go any faster than I was going. And then, I think that need to be very slow and measured, because that's how I could physically move at the time, was actually a real asset in hindsight. I couldn't, because I'm pretty crazy, and I would have rushed off and done 85 things at once, but I couldn't because I couldn't physically do it. And I think that grounding enabled me to actually do a good job.
Thank you for that. Great tip. Yeah. Duplication, collaboration.
Well, as I've already said to you, in the education game, you need to be very well funded, and you need a long time to make an impact. It takes 12 years to get a child from grade 1 to year 12, and then you've got university afterwards. So there are not too many people who are keen to go into that space because of its sheer economic cost. as a result, we don't really have a problem with competition, and I'm not being arrogant in saying it, it's just a truth. There's really only two really effective education charities in Bali, ourselves and Children's Project. We both work in physically different areas, so we're not impacting on each other's work, and we just get our jobs done in the communities we're in, and sometimes we share information. But in terms of, we don't just do education, because we've done everything from, particularly during COVID, food relief. There's a lot of disability and all sorts of health issues that we're dealing with, because the children in the communities have problems. And in those cases, it's always collaboration. I totally believe in collaboration. There is no point recreating what someone else is doing much better than you are. So, good old relationships, do the MOU because everyone likes it here, but get on with the job and get the help.
Love it. Yeah. Get on with the job, get the help. And just for those of you maybe looking to go into the space, one conversation I had a long time ago where Janur was part of it, Bali NGO and Associates back in those days, Kylie, Crisis Kitchen, amazing Kylie, and a few others. It was like this. People like us, myself, I put myself in this zone, come to Bali with an idea that, hey, I see a challenge over here. Not you, my dear. You're beautiful. You're no challenge whatsoever. But it's like, I want to solve it, right? I want to solve the problem. So I get on my horse. There's a horse there. Cue horse, right? I come in on the horse, and I try my best to solve this thing, this challenge, right? Not realizing, number one, have I checked that anyone else is already in the space and trying to do something? What kind of results are they getting? Do they need my help? Can I support and empower them in order for this thing to go? Because they've already entered the market. It's so this thing about duplication or collaboration. So there we have this opportunity. And back then, with this conversation that we had, the biggest problem was duplication, not collaboration. That was the biggest problem back then, and I still kind of see it now. And as Margaret's saying, that in her sector, that's not really a challenge, because there's not a lot of people doing it, right? There's two, right? It's too hard, and it's too hard, and so on. Whereas when we look into the environmental space, for example.
Yeah, which is also too hard. But the problem is there's very few people who can really get a result. I mean, Janur got a result. He got an amazing result, and he got a lot of follow me's too, a lot of copycats and all sorts of things going on, which muddied the scene. And the skill he's achieved, particularly with his work in Chuluk, in turning a community into a zero organic waste community, extraordinary. And that message being spread out is an incredibly valuable message for Bali. I live in a village as well of about the same number of households, and I know what it's like. So being able to get that message out to community is where the collaboration would be wonderful. Yeah.
Really important. So then, thank you, Margaret. So then, Janur, so what role has timing played in the successes, the failures, the whole experience for you, the experience of it, timing? Now remember, this is for the sake of other people listening who are kind of wondering, I want to do something. This point of this part of the show is to say, well, think about these things first, right? Consider these things first. Talk to these people first, right? That's the point. So the question again then is, what kind of role did timing play in what happened to you, your experience with Plastic Exchange, for example?
I think just do it, really. You have an idea, just do it. Because if you're going to wait for the timing, the right age, the right moods and all of that, it's this is just in my personal opinion. This is not preaching and all of that. That's how I do things. Like if I want to go someplace, I just go. If I want to do something, I just do it. And again, sometimes I don't even think about what will happen. Not like I'm going to jump off the cliff. That's not what I do. But with some kind of also, experience and all of that, I just do it. And again, just like Plastic Exchange, I just do it.
So then, second part of that question, and Bimbim, this will go to you too, but you first, Janur. let's talk about the darker side. Let's talk about burnout, right? So as I said earlier on in the show, Margaret put me straight on a few things very early, Rob. Before you save the world, just save yourself first, right? But that also means, that these charities are often our lives, right? You're doing this, you're getting calls all times of the day. I'm sure people here can relate to that, like, yeah, all times of the day and night. So it's heavily dependent upon you. The relationship to your family, your wife, your kids, all of these things get put into the frame, right? I love you, Bimbim. You're thinking about your answer already, I can tell. So if I ask you then, how do you manage burnout? And from an elevated point of view of maybe mistakes you've made in the past, if you've made any, what would you say to people starting on this journey now or already in the journey and kind of wondering how to get out?
Of course, burnout, it's happening. When you do something like over and over, you get excited and then you get like, wow, it's great. And then you do it over and over. It's felt like, oh my God, just like you said. And again, for me, it's just like I need to look at myself like, hey, this is not my responsibility. Meaning like I don't, this is the way I think, like I said, it's your house. It's your village. You need to be responsible for it. It's not up to me to come and clean your village. So I need to have that thing in my head. Otherwise, I would call Bimbim every day, just to listen my story,
We all call Bimbim.
Oh, that's number again. Block him. So yeah, that's how I manage my burnout. But also I like biking, sport, climbing, and all of that. And now I build a restaurant.
Also martial arts.
Also martial arts. So yes.
Great, Bimbim. So that part of the question leads to you. I can see you smiling, and obviously you're probably the most, the most in the place. Don't worry about that. It works without it. Don't worry about that. You're the most in position to probably answer this question. So just again, drawing on your experiences of the kind of phone calls and conversations that you've had, how would you mentor someone, maybe one of the guys over here or watching, who are starting a charity, they're just starting out, they're full of beans, let's go, right? How would you advise them to manage burnout?
Okay. It's difficult stuff that I've been implementing to myself in the past, but now I'm getting good to do that. So what I did to manage my burnout is just use the pause button. Pause, have some rest, asking for help. That is what I did to myself, and that is how we do in our services. We are focusing into our house first. Rescue our house first, our team, our services. Because if we focusing for the needed outside there is huge. So the priority is to save ourselves first. That's why we closed the helpline in 31 July 2022. Because we use our tool. We use the stop, the pause button, we asking for help, we regroup, we look after ourselves, and we evaluate and we do it again, Like what we keep telling our community, it's okay to be not okay and asking for help. That is what we're doing. Even our own team, if something happening in our own team, there is a flag coming up already, we give them time off, have some rest, use the services, be well. Because what? How we can deliver a good services if we are not well. So
very important.
Yeah.
Very important. So we've got one more round of questions in about 5-10 minutes maximum. We're going to go to the audience for questions. So if you have some, plant it in your mind, write it on someone's hand, on your phone, wherever it might be. Do that. So, okay, let's talk about, which we've touched upon with you already. I'm about to call you Janet. My goodness, why is that? Anyway, let's move on. I'm thinking about Janet Denise. There you go.
realised.
I know, goodness. So, personal, financial, how do you separate the two? Because, you know, again, a lot of people start charities or foundations at the grassroots, right, where they're funding it, right? Now, you've mentioned already that you had the smarts, I mean, after so many years in business, of saying, no, let me create the engine first, this profitable enterprise. With the profits, I can then invest into the charity. I can do something of good, right? So that's how you did it. But I think a lot of people maybe struggle with that because maybe they're not business-minded, okay? Maybe then they haven't got that financial brain, which I think a lot of people that I see haven't got that brain, right? And they struggle with it. So what advice would you give, you know, to those people in the position that maybe are just starting an enterprise like this, a social enterprise, or are already in it, but due to trying to save their face, they're going down. Yeah. They're going down. What do you do? How do you do?
Okay, for a start, I think you're giving me a bit more credit than I deserve because I didn't build the business to then build a charity. I built the business to make money and have a good time. Okay, that's why it was there. It was only after the impact of that bomb that I saw that I actually could make a difference in an area where I had specific skills, and fortunately it worked out. So it wasn't that I had a great deal of hindsight, it was a circumstantial situation. What I would say is that if you really do want to do something, the first thing is look at whoever else is doing something in that field and try and work beside them. Try and become an adjunct to their work, and you know, whether it be with Bimbim or with Monday. Just look at who's around in the space you're interested in and try and learn it. Because, you know, when I started, there was nothing going on. It was just easy to make it up as you went, as he did. But now there is so much going on in Bali. It's an extraordinary community. We have so many amazing activities going on here, which are either social enterprise, charities, whatever. So there's plenty of places to, you know, cut your teeth. And, you know, that you don't need to give 10% of your income, and I absolutely don't think you should. But you might decide to do a special campaign which raises a little bit of money that goes towards a charity you're interested in, and then you work with that charity to see how that money is spent. So you're starting to learn how to actually scale up, how to build a small campaign, build the campaign, and then see how it's delivered. That hasn't answered your total question, but that is a starting point. I mean, I think the real thing is cut the cloth to what you can do and do it in the area that you're most interested in. Start that way, and keep it at a scale you can afford, and a scale that is not going to destroy yourself, your family, or your staff. You know, I said to Robert earlier, you know, I see people saying, I'm going to have a social enterprise, I'm going to give this much of my income, I'm going to do all of this, but then they can't pay their staff wages. Disgusting. I'm sorry, that is just totally not okay. So a business has to be run properly. Fortunately, I come from a business background. If you don't, make an advisory board. Make it up. It doesn't have to really exist, but create an advisory board of people who are in business, who can help you make those decisions. Engage people who are in business. Everyone on my board is a business person. I should have educators. I don't. I've only got business, because that is the engine that drives what we do. We can employ educators, but we can't find those brilliant business brains. They have to come from a donation situation.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you very much. Janur. So Cheluk, everybody. C-E-L-U-K. C-E-L-U-K. Last time, C-E-L-U-K. You got to go there. Right? So Janur told me about this some years ago. He goes, Rob, you realize there's this village, right, Cheluk, where, you know, it's done. Like, there's no organic waste coming out of the village. It's all taken care of within. And I was blown away because it was, again, in Bali, include myself, a lot of people talking but not delivering, right? Talking but not taking action. And so I just thought, yeah, okay. But when I went there with you and I checked it out, I was blown away. I was like, my God, these people are actually doing it. They're taking action on the field. They're participants, not spectators, right? So that was amazing for me to see. So you got to go there. Chiluk, we did an event there for, was it Impact Local? I can't remember the name now. Impact Global Scale Local. Anyway, we did this great event where we invited Malati and a bunch of other very important people which are really active in the space. It went very, very well. So my question to you relates to the Plastic Exchange, relates to the CNN hero. Why? Because I think it's really important, right, that you're acknowledged for what you did and the work that went in, as everyone here. But also on an international scale, you went to the US, you spent some time there. I remember during COVID or something, I was like, why are you going on a plane? But anyway, you got there. Okay, if there was one thing that you could take from all of that experience of being in the public eye, of being, you were all around the world at one time, right? If there's one experience that you could pass on to someone else who may be in that same trajectory, right? What kind of nugget of wisdom, let's call it that, would you pass on to them to maybe prepare for, be aware of, or think in this sort of way? What would that be? And Bimbim can hand you the mic.
Wow, what would be? I felt like a Dalai Lama here. No.
You got the same haircut.
Yeah. For me, I'm always curious about things. Even like when I start Plastic Exchange, I didn't know about organic thing. And I didn't realize there is a 60 to 70% of our trash by weight and by volume is organic. And really just seeing that and learning and keep curious about things, to not stop learning about it. I don't know. Even I felt sometimes you're like, oh, wow, everybody calling me, want to talk to me about this, want to talk to me about that, because on the spotlight and all of those things, just keep everything real. I think that's what it is, yeah.
Thank you. Love it. Brother Bimbim, last thing for you before we go to questions.
Yes.
All right, so
Bring it up.
Bali, good. Bali Bersama Bisa. What I love about what you've done is, again, there's the 10 hands, right? So there's 10 different organizations working together on Bali Bersama Bisa, just so everyone's aware. 10, not 1 or 2, but 10, right? How do you find a way to bring everybody together and to keep everybody together in that kind of environment? Because I understand that there must be challenges, right? It's not all, kumbaya, right? It's not all like positive thinking. We're all here together. I love Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. I really, truly do. But I also understand in practice, we are different. We have different cultures, understandings, ideologies, and it's a beautiful thing, but it's also can be difficult to harness, right? So without calling anyone out of the 10 organizations, but you can if you want. So how do you manage to keep everyone together, working together, and target the same goal?
Yeah. So that's a hard question. So before I answer that one, I will share it with you guys all here. Please put yourself to working together with 10 NGO, and 8 of us is mental health survivor with our own defect.
Ouch!
There is schizophrenia, bipolar, addiction, cancer, and then it's nearly impossible, right? But it's possible. Why? Because we already did it. So what I did with my community is we do what we provide the services. So we heard all of them. We give them a place to get heard. With that, we build the trust together because everyone feeling heard. We don't direct them, we just heard them. With that, they build the trust and they been happening since 2020. We've been working together. So the thing that make us go still together until now, we never told our community to do things. We heard them and we encouraged them to find the way how to do a thing. So with you guys all here tonight, I will encourage you guys all to be a good listeners. With be good listeners, maybe you can save someone else's life. Yeah? Because what we need only to get hurt, we can find the way to help ourselves. So that is what we're doing. So we're practicing what servicing we offer. We're listening everyone.
Man, Brother
Thank you.
Bimbim, a few times people ask, about this, and it's been 400 and whatever episodes, and one of the most important things which I say to people when they ask these sorts of questions is that, there's 4, but you can probably add 10. 4 types of listening, right? So one type of listening is listening to interrupt, right? We all know that one. It's like, I've got an opinion. No, be quiet. Listen to me, right? We've all done that. I still do it from time to time, right? Don't ask my wife. No, she's the one who actually tells me. Anyway, another story for another day. Second one is like feigning listening. It's like the good old multitasking, right? Yeah, I'm listening, Margaret. Yeah, that's really interesting. Oh, Bali Children's Foundation. Oh, yeah, really good, Margaret. Yeah. I'm not listening or paying real attention. The third one is listening with curiosity. And you're listening to what they are not saying as well as what they are saying. So this listening with curiosity inspires us to really listen. And the fourth one that I heard that just blew my mind and gives me goosebumps till now, and this is what I think, this is where you start, is listening with your soul. Yeah. Listen with your soul. It's like, And friendships is made in the listening, not in the talking. Because if you think about it for a second, if you meet someone and all they do is talk all the time, do you want to be friends with them? Right? Maybe you do, okay. Or is it the case that when someone is truly listening to you and you feel that they're listening, number 3 or number 4, right? Do you then feel comfortable and say, you know what, I think I can confide in this person and I can begin to let some of these layers of, separation go. In the kids' home, 17 and a half years, one of the things is that there were about 100 kids that went through this children's home. I was always the youngest one, bullied and all the rest of that good stuff. But what happened was that we used to fight like cats and dogs, right? And this is what everyone's been saying. I just want to bring before you go to questions. And I remember there were 3 times where something from the outside threatened all of us. Guess what happened? And you said it already. Yeah, everyone came together like magic. The fact that you and I were fighting yesterday today you're my sister, today you're my brother, today you're my brother. To fight together that thing that threatens all of us. And to me, that's what always gives me hope, right? Ubuntu, takomasi. Every culture has this word of I am you, you are me, and it works. Together we can. Love this, man. Really cool. So, goosebumps. So what we're going to do now, Brother Bimbim, if we've got Guzman or Hadis over there, I see you. We're going to grab the mic. One lady's here. We're going to grab that mic, and we're going to take it to the audience. This gentleman was first. But before we do that, I want everybody to stand up. That's right. You're going to stand up. I know. You weren't planning on it. I know you weren't planning on it. Nor was I. So just stretch. There you go. Oh, there you go. Turn to the person next to you and say after me, you're awesome. You're awesome. All right. You're awesome. Grab a seat. Don't get carried away. Far out. One simple action. Look what happens. Everyone's awesome. I don't mind that. Everyone's awesome. Ah. All right. So the first question was brother over here. Yes, this man over here is the first question. So by the way, so you know, the questions will be on camera. Okay, we have a swivel camera. I didn't finish, Margaret, when your question. This is the main camera, and that's the camera that swivels to pick up different things. So if you don't want to be on camera, don't raise your hand. Just wait till the end. All cameras switched off, and you can ask the questions. All right. I did warn you. Thank you very much indeed. Over to you. So Guzman, you ready? Yeah, he's ready. Okay.
Hi, thanks for, sorry for interrupting earlier. I wasn't aware of the etiquette, but here's my question. You collected all this plastic. What did you do with it?
Good question. With all the plastic you collected, what did you do with it?
Put it in the ocean? No.
Oh! Cut! Edit that out! Edit that out! Edit it out! What do you mean it's live? Damn it!
Well, I always said that just because, I work with aggregators that collect the plastic, and they bring it to Java. You know why to Java? Because there is no plastic plantation plants in Bali, because Bali is zoned for tourism. So that's how we do it. And again, there is so many things that we not figure it out that about plastic. Especially the multi-layers, the single-use plastic, and some of those we still bring it to the landfill. So it's better in landfill instead of all over the environment. So yeah, so many technology now coming up, or people trying to figure it out. And actually, on Thursday, I'm going to meet up with someone that creating this. How you make a baton? What do you call it? Like concrete. Yeah. So they're trying to make a concrete from a plastic, that the single-use plastic especially. So what is the best solution? I don't know. So if you know the best solution for it, let me know. Let's collaborate, because I don't really know. But what I know for now is to work with aggregators, and then they bring it to Java and all of that. So.
Yeah, that's what we heard as well, that most of the plastic will be transported to Java, saying Bali doesn't generate enough of it to make something useful here. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you for the question. Thank you. So Aaron, thank you very much. Thanks everyone. Yeah. You got a question, brother?
I have a question.
All right. Grab a seat, pull it up, sit over here, and we'll give you it after. One of the normal chairs. Come over here, brother. Okay, that one's fine. Aaron.
I think an important question is everyone wants to be aware and involved somehow to do good for our people and planet. So how is there a directory that people can go to survey what is going on in Bali as far as charities are concerned? That's it.
Yeah, maybe I can answer that one as well. So, okay. There have been a few attempts. One, Bali NGO and Associates. I think that was one of the main challenges. And Jeroen is over here. He was one of the guys on that collaboration versus duplication conversation. So maybe he can chime in a second. So that was one thing which I don't think reached its full climax yet. It hasn't reached its full conclusion. Then what you also have is, Nuanu is a development that you may have heard of in Nanyi, which is Tabanan, basically. Now, they have what's called the Nuanu Social Fund. And what they did is that they did a 6 to 7 month study of the change makers in Bali, basically interviewed each of them. It was 300 people from memory, 300 groups. And from that, they created a directory of which change makers are doing which things. SpeakuP Monday with me, we actually were awarded number one in one of the categories actually. So that's the reason why I know about it. So the Nuanu Social Fund have made pretty strong inroads into this, and their directory is live. So if you need a way to get to it, if you can't find it, just ask me, and I'll find a way to get it to you. But that's a great question. Next question then, in that case. Yeah. Oh, we had a follow-up here as well.
Yeah,
coming back to you, brothers. Coming back. It looks so good there in that chair too.
Thanks.
You're good.
So I have a question. I already write it down. I have a question for three of you. So some NGOs getting funding because of the people running them, not because of the value of its mission. What is your thoughts about it, and have you struggling about this? Thank you.
Great question. Janur, you have the mic in your hand. So we go back to whoever wants it next. He was 1 and 2 behind. Yeah. Just stay there, brother. Stay there. It's okay. It'll come to you.
I think what you said is true. Famous people easier to get money just because you famous. I'm Obama, and then I start something. Oh yeah, I know you. I can give you money because I know you. I trust you. I think that's the idea is the trust, because I give something to you. Can I trust you? In my case, for instance, I'm nobody. I just restaurant owners that just happen to have something that I do that a lot of people want to do it. And a lot of people become, through the vision or through the storytelling, through the narrative that I do, and everybody felt like, I can be part of your story. I think that's really important for me, especially. This is story for everybody, not for me. It's not my story. It's our story. I'm just the one that happened to tell the story first, and now it's become your story. Yeah, and really, I said, people ask me, what is the, how do you know your success in plastic exchange? When people don't need me anymore. Like when I'm bankrupt, that's when I'm a success, because they don't need me.
To add to that, great question. This is something, it didn't come from me, okay? But it's something which I really appreciate. And so what you're really talking about, let's just name it, it's about pitching, actually, right? So this guy over here, my brother, Janur Yasa, happens to be an excellent communicator. Where he learned it, I have no idea, probably in the US, but he's got it, right? So he's able to, to firstly be understood. Secondly, as you mentioned, he uses storytelling to back up his point, and he's kind of got a magnetism, charisma to him. We're going to get married later on, right? He's got like a charisma to him that kind of brings you in. So with pitching, there's 5 things which I've noticed are really important. So number 1 is to be able to explain what it is in 1 or 2 sentences very quickly. What is it, right? Why is it important? Why now it's important? Who are you? Why should I trust you to be able to take this project forward? Number 4, 4.5, is, what is it that you need? So a lot of times people talk, but they don't tell people what they need. It's that they keep going on a rant, which I've done a few times tonight, sorry about that, but they've gone on a rant without really saying, this is what I need from you. This is the contribution I'm looking for. And then the final one is, what is it that person, let's call them an investor, for example, what is it that they get back in return? Now, it doesn't have to be monetary, but that's part of it, obviously, they're investing. But some people just want to put the money in, right? But it's things like the non-financial aspects. For some people, they just want to have a good legacy. I've made my money all these years by doing things that might not be quite in line with the planet. This is my opportunity to fund something which is. I'm going to get behind it. For others, let's be very honest, everyone has an ego. Bottom line. So if you can appeal, to someone's ego, then it's also like, I did this, right? I funded this, That's also part of it. So those 5 things, I know Janur's going to chime in a second, but those 5 things, what is it? Why now? Why is it important? Why you? What is it that you want? And what is it that the investor or the person contributing, what will they get back, financial and non-financial? Janur, you had something to say. No, you didn't? No. Damn it. Margaret does.
So, because I've been around a long time, I, in a way, fit the profile you're describing. Someone who's been around, very established, has funding. And that's true. But the reason that we get the funding is because we have been around a long time, we have been able to tell our story convincingly, and we've delivered. Now, there's a couple of things going on in Bali that give charities, when they've got some level of establishment, a real opportunity. And the primary one is the hospitality industry, and particularly the big brands, whether it be Marriott, whether it be Hyatt, or then the ones in the layers below that. those big brands under government requirement have to spend a certain amount on their community and their social responsibility,
Corporate social.
CSR. Now, sometimes it's a bit twisted the way they decide to do it, but more and more it is actually being delivered in a quite clean way. So if you're good at delivering, then they are the people who are looking for a partner who's good at delivering. So you've got a huge advantage in that regard. Or if you're first with an idea, as Jasa was, or as Bimbim can be now, where the space he's occupying now is the right space for him to get someone on his advisory committee who can go into those hospitality businesses and pitch to look after mental health, because it's the now subject. I'm sort of a long way of answering the question, but I hope it's useful.
I think it's very useful. Thanks for the great question, by the way, yeah? Brother man, over to you. Yeah.
Thank you. I had a follow-up on your question about the plastic soup. And I traveled now here for 2.5 weeks and started here and been to...
A bit closer to the mic. Closer.
Been to Nusa Lembong and Agility Islands. And I was there in Nusa Lembong, and we rented a scooter and saw such a nice and pretty places and nice beach clubs. But then we went to the northwest, I think, of the island, and there was like hills of garbage and next to the sea. And I was like, what the fuck is here going on? When the wind is there, then everything goes in the ocean or everything will be burned. And I was like, you can build so nice beach clubs, but there was no storage for it. And it was like, what the hell is going wrong here? Why are you not making at least a wall for the garbage and the sea and such a storage for it? Because now it's like when there's the wind is going all the garbage to the sea, and that's not the good way for it.
Thank you. I think Janur might be the good guy to answer that one.
No, your question is why they not build a wall or
just storage for it.
Well, like I said, people in a beach club or anything. It's just like this. I think we talked this earlier. We are. I mean, let's just talk to ourselves. And I ask this question to a lot of people. What is the definition of trash? Mm-hmm. What is trash?
That's to everybody here, by the way.
It's everybody's question. Otherwise, if you don't know what trash is, and
it's a daily consumption. What you do and what you are wasting. So the plastic.
Well,
foods,
the simple answer is the trash is something with no value. That's trash. When there is no value, it's trash. And then you discard it because it's no value. I mean, not just about plastic, but people can be. Like in Indonesia, we have like sampah masyarakat, which is the trash of the society, because you have no value to the community. That's trash. Yeah. So until we make this trash become value, it will a trash. It will nobody pay attention to it. And fortunately, we're looking at value as I said this is in general equal dollars, money. If not make money, don't do it. Even we know, like it's a health. It's Bali is based on tourism. People don't care. It's a lot of this question. Especially people from outside like yourself, and even like people from Bali also ask, why didn't do it? Why didn't do it? Did you do it? I ask my own people. We talk about Trihita Karana. Everybody knows in Bali. Yeah. But do you do it? You go to the temple and trash. And I really just like, I'm not blaming them.
I think in other countries they have.
But this is let me finish. There is two kind of knowledge, and everybody need to know this. There is two kind of knowledge. One is cognitive. Cognitive is in your head. What you know, what you learn, what you read is in your head. The second one, we call it embodiment. That's a knowledge that you do it through your body. Habit is not a cognitive. Habit is embodiment. Habit is a muscle memory. Yeah? Cognitive is important for you to take action. If a cognitive doesn't inspire for you to take action, it just stay as a knowledge. You know, knowledge is a rumor until you put it into a muscle. Yeah? Knowledge is a rumor until you put it into muscle. Knowledge means nothing until you do it. Same thing. Everybody understands trash is bad and all of that, but the habit that we have, you know, is this, because it's no value. Yeah. So how do I solve that? How do we solve that? We
make trash valuable.
Make a trash valuable. So that's the answer. Yeah, or one of the answer, you know.
I think in other countries you have innovations like recycling or make some other stuff with the trash. So the innovations are at the moment, but they are not involved here. Or
If I may give you some background, because I know Lembongan very well.
Let's do this.
Check.
Sorry. I know Lembongan well because we teach in every school in Lembongan, and for the last 6 years we've been involved with the recycle centre there. And I've only recently stopped doing that because it's time for other people to take over. But during COVID, so what you looked at is the Jungut Batu waste collection area. Now, Jungut Batu, there are two desas on Lembongan, Jungut Batu and Lembongan. Jungut Batu has no recycle. Lembongan Desa does. So that's the recycle, that's the trash centre there, and all the trucks go in there. Now, what you will have seen probably piles of burning trash or smoking trash, but you won't have seen plastic bottles because they have already been taken to Lembongan Recycle Centre because they've got value, right? So you won't. In the olden days, there used to be motorbikes thrown into the mangroves. They're not in the mangroves because Plastic Exchange came to Lembongan, and Lembongan was hungry because all the tourism had stopped, everyone was starving. They pulled all the shit, for use of the word, out of the mangroves, washing machines, cars, motorbikes, all, you know, the sumps of motors, all pulled out of the mangroves and exchanged for rice. So the mangroves were really, at the end of COVID, the mangroves were in incredible condition. What's happened since is, as Lembongan's got going again, everyone's making money again, becoming rather careless, and I'm not being disrespectful, it's just the case. And that's why at the end of last year we said, hey, come on, this is enough. We're just going to focus on education. You guys have to sort this out yourself. But the Lembongan Recycle Centre is still working and doing a pretty good job. Underfunded. It's a for-profit business that never makes money. There's a guy who's really dedicated to what he does. So there are people individually trying to do the right thing. But beyond that, it requires a much bigger step. And that is government, unfortunately, in this case. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the question. If you pass the mic behind you, we'll got Jeroen and Catherine as well, yeah?
I just want another question, just also react on this. Where does the trash go? You coming from where? From Netherlands or from where? Netherlands. Yeah, okay. I'm also Dutch originally. Where does the trash of Netherlands go that you don't see? Do you know where it goes? To Indonesia. Before it was China. China has closed it. The only thing is you don't know, you don't see. But the trash that our, that so-called developed countries have also is sold and shipped over to other countries like Indonesia now. So it's just a matter here, yeah, it's visible because we don't necessarily collect, but it's also it's just to put the perspective, you know.
Thank you, brother Jeroen. I'm going to pass it to your right. Yeah, great question, brother. And again, like we know you just arrived, and the thing is like this as well. You know, before I said that, you know, people that maybe just arrive want to do something, right, and you want to get onto it. but it's not a bad thing, because sometimes, it's like you look but you don't see. So if, for example, I live in the same house for 10 years, I'm looking everywhere, but maybe I don't see things anymore because my brain has become accustomed to seeing them, that now I don't see them anymore. So by you coming and saying, hey, but what about this over like here? Who's doing something about that? Is also needed, right? Because then sometimes we miss it, and then that voice comes up and it's like, you know what? He's got a point. Well, how do we let it get this like this, for example? So that's why it's a great question. Catherine.
Hi, I certainly know Margaret and Bimbim very well. I've met you not so long ago. Thank you for everything you're doing. It's incredible. I'm very grateful. I've been here 5 years and I've watched the path. So I'm in awe of all of you. I have a question really the other way around. It's more about what can we do for you? And I'm curious, I think numbers speak words. And I was wondering if you're comfortable sharing a little bit of the scale of how much you need each year or month, or how much does it take, Margaret, for example, to keep a school ticking over? I think that really is quite a powerful message, numbers, sometimes. I remember speaking to Kim at Bali Street Mums, and I nearly fell over my feet when I found out how much it costs a month to run her safe house. So if you feel comfortable, I think it's quite useful.
So we maybe start with Bimbim. Is that okay? Because I know you've been sitting there patiently, and the questions have been on plastic. So the question was, Bimbim, was, if you're comfortable to disclose, what kind of numbers are we talking now that it costs Bali Bersama Bisa to run the centers, for example, each month? And so this will, as we said, I think before, this is a platform, SpeakuP Monday, right, for good people doing good things. And at the end of the day, we need to also name what it is, right? I need X amount. Contribute to me $10,000 a month, whatever it might be. So feel free to say it, yeah? Over to you.
Yes, thank you for the question. Yeah, so like you guys know that a mental health treatment is quite luxury stuff here in Indonesia. Yeah, so we have the BPJS, that's insurance that's covering for the treatment. But mostly people who are struggling with mental health and addiction, they already isolate themselves and push away other people. They not go to work, they not pay the insurance, and that's become mental health is a luxury stuff here in Bali and Indonesia for the people who doesn't have the insurance. And sometimes also the insurance is covered for specific medication only. We call it generic, like public one. That doesn't suit the mental health. So you need to bring your own cash to covering up that one. So we provide free services for psychiater, psycholog, medication, counseling, and rehabilitation. Our running costs monthly with the full team running, including the medication and professional involved, is 140 million a month. It's quite huge. But that impact from the center is provide 1,100 impact a month with that amount of money. So if you break down that amount, it's only less than $10 for save one life. Yeah? So, like our said, together we can. Yeah?
Thank you, Brother Bimbim.
What we keep doing is keep doing what Janur mentioned, keep doing our authentic storytelling from our own experience and struggling to empower others to do the same thing like what we're doing. So, Bersama Bisa, that means together we can. Yeah?
Bersama Bisa! Respect. So, Janur, if there's anything you want to mention, maybe one of the plastic exchanges, whatever will be.
Yeah, so for plastic exchange, I think I figured it out, or more or less like a 10 kilo plastic for 1 kilo of rice. And now, to using rice as a currency, it's a little bit kind of up and down. When I started plastic exchange, it was 10,000 rupiah. And now I think the rice is, what is now, 15,000 rupiah. So, and I really like the coupon thing, because the coupon just keep 10,000, doesn't matter how much the rice costs now. like I said, it's like 1 kilo of 10,000 for 10,000 rupiah for 10 kilo of plastic, roughly.
Thank you, brother. They pass it to Margaret. So, yeah, just around that part, yeah, well negotiated.
Okay. So we operate in 101 schools and we've got over 14,000 children on the program. And that's between scholarships, delivering curriculum into schools, 3 kinds of curriculum, university, college and apprenticeship programs. 50 staff, basic monthly cost 400 million. Of which 4% is administration. The rest is all delivery, including developing new curriculums, getting them into the schools, a lot of teacher training. We're spending a lot more time now training government teachers. In the past, we've had to deliver all the curriculum ourselves, and now we're moving to a model where we're actually have trainers who are training government teachers. So we might, instead of having 6 teachers in 6 schools, we might have 1 teacher trainer covering a curriculum in those 6 schools. So that's a more sustainable outcome and it's a much better investment in the Education Department of Indonesia. So 400 million covers that work. But on top of that, we do a lot of school upgrading. And our budget again would be double that, so about 800 million a month by the time we do our upgrades and our core deliveries. At sometimes the amount of delivery is higher because particularly post-COVID, I think we've upgraded something like 126 classrooms and libraries, so we've had a big pile of investment. Now we've done a lot of that, we'll start scaling that down. So there's ebbs and flows because it's been a big job funding not huge amount of money. And I'm hoping that we won't have to continue at quite that scale. But I can't see us doing anything less than 600 a month. It's going to take that still because we keep having to repair things and keep developing things.
You know, one of the great questions, thank you, Catherine, one of the things which comes, apart from knowing the numbers, 4%. That is amazing.
Because we do so much, it's easy to have a very low admin because we've got all that scale.
Yeah. Brilliant.
And we use technology, we use digital technology for a lot of the administrative work, and that's very helpful.
Incredible. So look, what we're going to do, we're going to draw tonight, one more question. So after this question, we're going to draw tonight to a close, and then we can have a little photograph afterwards and a private chat if you like. But firstly, last question, then I'm going to ask everybody here for a closing. Now, it can be something you can reiterate that you've said already. It doesn't have to be long, it can be short too. But also let people know how to get in touch with you. It could be Bersama Bali Bersama Bisa on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, a bank account, right? Whatever it might be for each person. So a closing comment. So, Detlev, you have the last question, brother.
Yeah. Well, it's not a question. It's a bit of a statement. When I came to Bali, I was a bit later than you, 22 years now, and I saw the garbage as well. But I thought, hey, come on! I mean, we had it solved in our Western world. It will be solved here as well. I forgot one tiny detail. That was that Bali got richer and richer and richer and richer, and all of a sudden you have everywhere the Circle K shops, and everywhere you had all of a sudden these plastic. What was 30 years ago not here, 40 years not here, but it was growing. So you have on one hand, you have a growing awareness, but on the other hand, you have so much more garbage because the society just simply got more rich. Yeah? What is a very sad thing. That's one thing. The other thing is Mark and me, Mark a bit longer than me.
Closer to your mouth.
Mark and me, Mark a bit longer than me. There's another way of starting with charity or supporting charities. And that is what we all know each other a little bit, is a Rotary Club or Lions Club, or there are other clubs as well. But I know Mac from Rotary, I know Janur from Rotary, I think you've been also in Rotary Seminyak. What is also a way, not everybody starts from zero a charity, but there you can help as well. And it's actually also a good learning thing. You know, we have in our Rotary clubs, we have also every time a speaker. And this is also something where you get a bit of awareness what is needed and where we can support. So you not necessarily do your own charity, you can also do it that way. Yeah, in a good way. But we had charities also growing out of our Rotary clubs. But that's another thing. Okay, thank you. Question.
Thank you very much indeed. And if we return this mic over here to our brother, Bimbim. So, as I mentioned before, we're going to start the closing now. And what it will be is each person, we can start with you, Bimbim, in about 2 minutes or so. If there's something that you'd like to impart or to share, it's okay, mate. You don't need to touch it. Just speak. Impart or share. It could be reiterating something you've said already or something that maybe you haven't got a chance to say that you feel very strongly that you need to say. Feel free. Also, let people know how they can get in touch with you, right? In about 2 minutes. Okay, so you got a bit of time.
12 minutes.
In about 2 minutes.
Okay, 2 minutes.
Right. So I'm going to say a few things. Oh, that was hard, man. I'm joking.
Okay.
So you just wait. Wait for 2 minutes. You can time it. It's okay. All right. So everybody here, first, I want to thank everyone for coming, right? It's really important that every week, this is episode number 418. It's a lot of shows, a lot of weeks. I'm very thankful and appreciative of everybody who comes every week, you know, and for those of you at home, it's great that you're watching, or if you watch it on replay, it's great that you're watching. But if you're here in Bali, come in person. Why? Because it's not only these incredible people that you get a chance to meet, interact with, which Margaret was so busy. I'm glad to have her here. Same with Janur, same with Bimbim. These are busy people. You have a chance to have a chat to them directly, one-to-one, right? So that's number one. Number two is that you get to connect with the people in the audience who are already in the space. Right? So this is really effective networking because there are people who are already, don't need to be convinced. They're already doing stuff, right? So that's why also come in person and check it out. Also, Tropical Nomad, the last 239 episodes of the 418 have been filmed here. So we're talking about Ichi, we're talking about Brother Guzman, Sister Ayu, Brother Hadis, Bella, who used to be here before. Thank you so much, because Tropical Nomad is our technical partner and very, very, very good friend. And you know, again, this would not be possible. When we started, it was all on like a mobile handheld device. You get a headache or motion sickness just watching one episode. You'd last for 10 minutes and probably run and throw up somewhere. So again, it's a lot different now, right? So thank you very much indeed. The other thing I want to bring attention to is that, so we're very active not only in creating dialogue and opportunities to have important conversations and discussions based around inspiration and people inspire people, but we're also doing things. So we co-founded the Tabanan community WhatsApp. So now Tabanan, I fell in love with when we first came here, thanks to Sahaja Sawa. When we first stayed when we got here, and then Brother Janur, meeting him, and he talking about Trihita Karana and everything else. I'm like, God dang, I love Tabanan, I love Bali, but Tabanan is my favorite. So having the opportunity to work with a royal family, or a Balinese royal family there for 5 years, doing ceremonies, deep immersion in the culture, working with the local government. We had Santiago Uno over there, like at the start of the year, an incredible closed event, private, but it was amazing. All of these incredible opportunities, now we have a chance to put all of that into a WhatsApp community that is public. You can join it. And it's about those who are interested in Tabanan. You could be a stakeholder, meaning you own land or want to own land. You could be a person who lives in Tabanan who just wants to know what's happening. You can also be a person who's in the promo group, or we're gonna start a charity foundation group as well. So those people which are doing great work, CSR, will be recognized. So you can tune into all of these things. Just come and see me afterwards, or if you're watching online, just write a message to SpeakuP Monday or Robert Ian Bonnick, and I'll send you the details to join that group. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking, otherwise it'll go on forever. Finally, though, thank you very much to the guests here assembled in reverse order. It's not over. You have your time to speak. Bimbim, remember Bali, Bersama, Bisa. Together we can. Yes, we can.
Yes.
No, that was weak. Yes, we can.
Yes.
Now together we can.
Together we can.
Bali.
Bersama. Bisa.
There you go, baby. Man, that was unplanned, but it kind of worked. Okay. Then we have Janur, my brother, another brother from a different mother, same father. Again, what you've done with Indonesia, Plastic Exchange, again, I've known you for years, man. Like, you're an incredible person. You all are incredible people, but I'm talking about you right now. Man, I love the fact that you have this discipline behind you and you've realized so much. You're a great communicator. You inspire other people. I remember little Joseph, he still talks about you. Like, again, this is what it's about, right? Unity in diversity. People coming together to do great things together that impact a lot of people. And then Margaret, again, she schooled me so often, still does. I love it. Thank you so much. Again, but great information, impeccable wisdom, experience, knowledge, and love for Indonesia. Obviously, 30-something years, 50 years in Asia. Thank you so much for saying yes to all of you. And now I really will stop talking. Bimbim, over to you, brother. Whatever it is you want to say, and we'll pass it on, Made, and then finish with Margaret.
Okay, thank you, Rob. I think your time 2 minutes already finished, yeah? How you guys can support us? So, a small storytelling. Janur mentioned about Trihita Karana and Tatwa Masi. So I would like to bring a big stuff now. So in Indonesia, we have the Garuda bird. We have Pancasila. There's 5 pillars of our Indonesia, our country. Pillar number 3. Persatuan Indonesia, there's unity in all around Indonesia with the philosophy of gotong royong. That's mean working together. That's why we bring the philosophy of together we can. Have a look this beautiful hand. When we holding together, it's become beautiful, circle and powerful. It's not easy to be on the ground field to try to make a difference here regarding about taboo or stigmatized stuff. But when we're telling our story to the community about what we need, our stronger day by day because of the community. Our center is rise and rising fund for our center is the expat community. They're rising the fund with climbing the mountain, 2 days, stay on the dirt, climb the mountain, feel the struggling of what we're struggling as a survivor and collecting fund to creating the center. And not only one time, they did it again. Freedom Summit 2, they're rising the fund again. They're climbing 2 mountains to make the services running. And then there is a chef community. They're creating master chef cook-off to collecting the funds, selling the gala dinner, to provide the services. So what we're doing in here, if you guys have things that you've been passionate about and willing to make a change, creating something, movement here to provide a mental health services for free in Bali, please give us a direct message. It can be to our Instagram, Bersama Bisa Foundation, or into our email. I will share my business card later. I still bring my business card. So if you guys want to keep in touch with me, give me a call, The thing who make me keep standing up in this field because the beautiful collaboration between the expat who love and live here. They decide like what Janur said, taking action, make a change. For the community of their love, that's a beautiful thing. The Western and the local working together to make a change is huge. So, any skill that you guys have, that you're willing to contribute, don't worry, don't be shy to give us a message. Go to our website, bisahelpline.org. There is a volunteer or contribution, what you can do, what you can contribute to the community, to us. Just click that one. Yeah? So, Yes, so it's many way to contribute with the philosophy of working together, gotong royong. Because with working together, we can live, we can carry the heavy weight as a community together, creating a beautiful impact for the people who need it. Because, like what Rob said before, together we can. Bali Bersama Bisa. Thank you.
So I think I just piggyback what he said. It's a collaboration. I think that's the key. And if you want to know more about Plastic Exchange or you want to get involved, just go to plasticexchange.org. So you can see all the links on that website.
Your restaurant.
Yeah, and also come to my restaurant and we can talk more about it. So it's called Eka Wood Restaurant. It's also a collaboration between me and my friend Eka. He's a builder, a joglo. Yeah, if you want to know about joglo, about food, talk to us. So it's in Lot Tundu. If you go to Ubud, it's macet. I want to, before got to Ubud, stop over. So there will be the place, Eka Woods. .restaurant.
Not far from Chuluk, man. There you go. Thank you, my brother Janur.
Yeah, so I've spent quite a lot of tonight talking about big numbers, but the number that really matters to us is the number of one student, one child, and where we can get them in their life. That is our total focus. And the fact that we've been able to scale it up to big numbers is fortunate, but it's still that single purpose of enabling one life to be empowered to be as successful as possible, which gives them the child their future and their family and their whole community. And we've fortunately proven that over the years. So that's really, really important. In terms of help, for us, I've talked about how our board's been super helpful, which is fantastic. I haven't talked about our staff anywhere near enough, and they are incredibly vital to what we do. It's impossible. One person does nothing. It's got to be everyone, whether it's called gotong royong and where you've got the community helping you, or whether it's more internal in your team, it's vital. The third element is the student themselves and their families, because all of our students are part of a gotong royong process within community. So every village we work in, there are things that the students help deliver as part of their contract for their educational assistance. So that's super important and very well said by Bimbim. So thank you for that. For us, the Rotary conversation, always relevant. And in fact, when I was in Melbourne recently, fundraising, as we do, I went to Rotary in Mornington and pitched to them to pitch to Seminyak about a program supporting Lombok, where we've got major literacy problems in the elementary schools, in the 7 elementary schools we're in North Lombok. So, yeah, we are a big community. And I go back to the first thing that I started with. At the Bali bomb and that response to the bomb, I saw 3 communities coming together. Balinese, expats and tourists. And that still frames our life in Bali. This is still the reality we live in. And it's an incredibly powerful group. So that is my ultimate gotong royong. It's actually an international one. Thank you.
So everybody, thank you very much indeed. Bali Bersama Bisa, we have Eka Wood and Plastic Exchange, and of course Bali Children's Foundation. Round of applause. See you next week. Thank you very much.